YouTube videos from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's great to be here at BPM. This is my 6th BPM. My first BPM was the 2nd year of Castle Donington. Who was there at the Castle Donington show? A couple of you? Yeah, so I'm actually, I'm alumni at this point for BPM, and it's great to be here, and it's great to see all of you. Today we're going to do a seminar on hyping the crowd and connecting with the crowd. I think the title was a bit, come on in, there's room, come on in. I think we got a couple seats here and there, come on in. And I want you guys to do me a favor. If you could, please, can I ask a favor? My boss is watching, and they're filming this, and my other boss is going to see this. We need to make this look really good, especially the intro. So we're going to do a thing with Sparky B. He's going to come in, he's going to do a thing. So if you guys could please, like, do some energy for me, clap, scream, stand up, do a little dance if you want to. When I introduce him, and it'll look really cool on camera, and my boss, and make me look really cool if you guys can do that for me. Is that cool? Can you do that? All right, cool. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start the real seminar here. This is the hype the crowd part. Okay. How's everybody doing today? Yeah! All right, everybody, put your hands together for the one, the only Sparky B.
We have some music here. I feel like I'm on a game show right now. Like we're gonna be giving away some prizes. Somebody put your hands up in the air for me today. Everyone, both hands up in the air. Let me see you raise the roof like this. Come on, raise the roof. Who would like one of these official ADJ towels here today? I said, who would like one of these official ADJ towels here today? We have a few of these. We have a few of these. I need to know which side of my crowd is louder. Is it the left side? Or is it the right side? I said, is it the left side? Or is it my right side? Put them up, put them up. Come on, put them up. I'm only giving these to people with their hands up in there. I want it to be a workout. I know it's Monday morning, but let's do this. Come on. Come on. Who stayed up all night to get lucky? If you stayed up all weekend just to get lucky, I want you to make some noise. Nobody got lucky at the BPM show. Are you serious? Come on! Everybody say come on, I got a couple more. Where's that right side? Where's that left side? Where are the people in the back? They're just playing along. Good friends of mine. Let's do this. Come on. Wow, they're whooping without me even telling them to now, man. This is a good crowd. Last couple. Who needs one? Who doesn't? Who doesn't want one? Who absolutely needs one of these ADJs? One more time. Listen, I want you to say ADJ.
ADJ.
One more time. ADJ.
ADJ.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Thanks for coming today. I'm just kidding. We can turn that off. Let's talk to these guys. They told me a secret code.
Pause button. Ah, there we go.
There you go.
What do you think of that? Okay, take the hat off, take the glasses off, take the coat off. I have one more person I need to introduce to you while we're out here, and that is my friend. Anybody know Chris Miller? Does anybody know him? You ever heard of Chris Miller? Okay, let me tell you a little secret. This is Chris Miller right here. It's my friend Chris. Sparky B, aka Chris Miller. I guarantee you, he's not like this in real life. He's not jumping around going crazy. Sparky B is definitely a stage persona. So, how did Sparky B develop?
Sparky B actually developed, I started when I was 14,
yeah.
And which, let's just say it was a long time ago. And, I was just doing the regular parties, doing everything else that everyone else was doing. And, I threw a couple t-shirts into the crowd that there was a lady from the radio station at the first birthday party that I had done, and she had given me a couple t-shirts. I threw it into the crowd and everyone made noise when I threw it out there. And years and years later, I've just built on that. And, and I just really kind of became the swag king. I mean, people don't appreciate my DJ skills anymore. They just want free things from me now.
Tell them where you're from. Where are you from in the United States?
Actually, does anyone know where Ohio is? Ohio in the States, Cleveland. So that's Cleveland, Ohio.
Kind of the middle bit to the right.
The Great Lakes, right below the Great Lakes.
Right, so middle America. And how has Sparky B changed over the years?
Sparky B has changed over the years. I have lost a little more hair. No, I'm just kidding. I've actually taken the term swag to a whole new level. I've really kind of developed as a DJ, not only as a DJ but also as a performer. I like to almost be like the lead singer of the band.
Yeah, frontman.
Like the frontman. So
that's what I learned. How I learned from frontman at bands as DJs back in the '80s. A lot of the guys, geez, that's kind of loud. A lot of the guys who were in bands kind of gave up, and they thought, well, listen, I don't want to deal with a drummer who's drunk and a bass player with problems at home. I'd rather just do this myself as a DJ. And they were my mentors, so I understand what you mean by the frontman thing.
I'm gonna stand closer to you so I can hear what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Where's that guy walking around?
Yeah, where's the guy with the long hair with the noise meter when you need him? Alright, so we did swag. And do you guys like that? Do you guys like throwing stuff out? Was that cool? Has anyone ever done anything like that at an event? Okay, we have a few people who have. Now, what a lot of people will say is that, well, yeah, sure, it works in the United States, but it's not going to work in the UK, right? Well, guess what? It just worked in the UK. You guys just did it. And if you were at Pizza Fest last night, they did it there too, and it worked very well. So you can't even say that it's not going to work in the UK because it absolutely does. Is it always appropriate? What do you think, Sparky?
Not necessarily always. I mean, swag works for me at every single show, whether it be a wedding reception, a school dance, a corporate function. It's just a matter of the level of swag. You have to ride that real fine line between professional and performer, I guess you could say. So, school dances, I'm going to use a lot more swag. But even, who uses glow necklaces at school functions or anything, crack the glow necklaces? Even at a wedding reception, a lot of times, I won't take the cases and cases and cases of swag as I do to my school dances, but I'll take a bag of beads or a tube of glow necklaces to a wedding reception, and you use swag as a tool. You don't just, too many DJs just take their swag and throw it into the crowd. They get overly excited and just throw it randomly. You almost want to use it as a tool. And at the wedding reception, after all the announcements and such, I'll usually take those glow necklaces out to use as a tool and almost coax people onto the dance floor. But then everyone deep down inside, grandpa, grandma, everyone wants something for free and something that looks fun. So
you guys like free stuff?
Yeah, who doesn't like free stuff, right? Whatever it is, whether it be a glow necklace or a £1 coin.
Now, a lot of what you did wasn't only the swag; it was also what you were saying. It was your mic work, and it was your body language. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and again, as I said, at least back in the States, I know a lot of DJs that I see they just throw swag, and they're too busy just picking things up out of the boxes and just literally dumping it into the crowd. If you notice when I came in, as goofy as I think I look in a big purple coat that looks like I killed Barney, it still made everyone look at me and got everyone's attention, and I like to be very animated all the time and jump around the crowd, and again, it gets people's attention. As you can see, I'm moving around, not necessarily because I want to keep your attention. I just had a lot of coffee this morning, and I'm trying to burn it off right now.
Now, here's a question for you. You're up there, you're naked, you're all kind of alone. Do you ever get scared on stage when you're doing this kind of performance?
I want to make sure I have my pants on.
Yeah, you get your pants on.
Believe it or not, with all of the large shows, if anyone's seen any of my videos online, I do some pretty large shows, and I've been doing them for a long time. Believe it or not, even I get scared before I go on stage. I never know what the crowd... A big portion of the fight and having a great time is making sure that you have a great crowd. I mean, I've worked with some pretty rough crowds and still been able to hype them up, but even I get scared before I don't want to say scared, I want to say I just get the butterflies.
Right, butterflies, nervous.
Little butterflies in my
You want to
stomach.
make sure that, you know, your crowd's going to be receptive to you.
To be honest with you, I had a swarm in my stomach right before I walked in here, so thank you for being so gentle.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything you want to tell us, like wedding? You know, you don't do a lot of weddings, but when you do weddings, how does that differ from your big performances?
All right, again, if you see my videos online, I do a lot of concerts, opening up for Rihanna and groups like that, all the way back to Vanilla Ice. But I also do a lot of corporate events, school dances where it's just a free-for-all. They just want to dance and have a good time. That's easy. It's just a lot of hyping the crowd. Somebody said, "Oh."
Let's try that again.
Let's try that. See, it's because I wasn't energetic enough.
Try it again.
And a lot of the shows, I like to hype the crowd, like somebody say ho! Ho! Say ho! 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 See, that works for school dances, college functions, concerts, but for a wedding reception, obviously I want to tone it down and become more crisp than Sparky. So, you go into the traditional, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this festive occasion, and you get through all the formalities, and then, as I said earlier, that's when I'm going to want to take the swag, the little bit of swag, just enough to coax people out onto the dance floor. I get out there, I mingle with them. Too many DJs, whether it be all over the world, I see that with the advent of the computer age, I see too many DJs letting the computer do the work for you. Do not let the computer take your job from you. You always want to make sure that there's a human interaction. I like getting out in the crowd. I like bear hugging people, not in a creepy way, but just enough to make people comfortable. You want to get those smiles going on the dance floor, and getting back to the swag. That's where the glow necklaces usually get them out on the floor, and everyone's having a great time. And then for a wedding, I don't want to overshadow the bride and the groom. 10 years from now, I don't want people remembering their wedding reception as, my gosh, that DJ was out of this world, and they don't remember the bride and groom. I always want to make sure that they're the ones in the spotlight.
I know it's super loud and hard to hear in here, and I apologize. Thank you for being patient with us on this. Does anyone have any questions so far? And please don't be shy. Put your hands right up and ask whatever you like. Yes, sir. Go down there, so. What was the question?
That's a good question. He said, what sort of things do we give out? Say, he was wondering for what would we give out at a school dance compared to...
What types of swag items would you
compared to what
have with you?
Want me to take that one?
Yeah, please. You're the swag king.
In the States, for years, I don't know how it is over here, but what tends to work best for me are glow necklaces, the long ones. The one tube of 50 glow necklaces goes a long way because it's a very visual thing. It looks like a bouquet of flowers that you're carrying around the room. That actually works for me at many events, but at the weddings and more classy events, I'm going to stick to just maybe 1 or 2 tubes of those. When it comes to concerts, school dances, I tend to bring we have LED foam tubes that look like glow necklaces, but it's a lot more visual. It's a much larger thing. They strobe, and LED lights have just come a long way. Beyond that, it's just whatever the promoters would like to give me. T-shirts, whatever they want to give me, I'm going to use as a tool. And again, we're going to be doing some, actually Brian and I are going to be doing some performances over at the ADJ stand with all the kids that are here from the schools. And I've gone ahead and lined up everything and prioritized everything that I have, from buttons all the way to the towels. The towels were a great addition to this year's BPM. So I basically look at what I have before the show and line them up, even with special effects. We have CO2 cannons over there that I wasn't expecting when I got here. So not only do I use the swag, yeah, those of you that were at the show last night, I really wasn't expecting that as I was standing at the top.
Yeah, scared a little. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
Almost like a heckler, we would call those. He was wondering how we deal with the hecklers in the crowd, which there's always one smart guy. Brian, do you want to maybe take this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, shoot, go for it.
Actually, I don't want to say it every show. Usually, when I'm giving away some free stuff, I get the people screaming and hollering again. Wow, that is really loud.
It's really loud, yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Usually, there's always someone in the crowd that's going to be smart, okay, that thinks they're better than you, thinks what you're doing is stupid. Again, I'm using the swag as a tool every time I'm on stage. I thought maybe he had the power to turn that down.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, we're a little louder. That helps a little bit, right?
So the guys that are heckling in the crowd, that's usually 1 or 2 people in the crowd, whether it be a guy or a girl. What I usually do is use the rest of the crowd if they're, oh, thank you. If there are 100 people in the room and 2 are being smart with me, I get 98 other people to scream louder than them to basically drown them out. And at times, you know, you're the DJ, you're in control. You always want to control the crowd and not let the crowd control you. You're the one with the microphone. Consider it a loaded gun. Just watch what you fire out.
Now, do you remember when you all came in the room, right? We all sat down before we kicked everything off. And I asked you guys to do me a favor and hype up the room. Remember that? You know what I was doing? I was getting you on my side. It's very important to have the audience on your side. Now, okay, fine, I used the YouTube thing. You guys know me from that. It's not that easy walking into a gig cold to get the audience on your side, but somehow you have to do it. So what I want to talk about are some ways to get the audience on your side. It's going to help you in a lot of different ways when you're, doing your even wedding receptions, which is mostly what I do. How many people in here, by show of hands, play for dinner music as well as the dancing as well? Dinner music? What do you typically do during dinner music? What do you do? Do you sit there and just chill out? Huh? Take requests, yeah? Well, that's what I do. There's a way I do it that I want to share with you. I've talked about this in videos, but I'll talk about it here too. I actually go from table to table and talk to as many people as I can. I literally walk up to them and I introduce myself. I let them know I'm the DJ, and I ask them what they want to hear for music. Now my first reaction that I get is shock, because no one's ever asked them what they wanted to hear for music. But sometimes, if there are smart seating arrangements at a wedding, you'll have a lot of people who are like-minded at each table. So you'll have a table of maybe some folks, I don't know, what we call the baby boomers in the States. Probably, 55 to 70 maybe not quite that old. And then you'll have your Generation X people at tables, people my age, 40-ish. And you talk to them, find out what they want to hear, but make sure they know that you're approachable. Make sure they know it's okay if they want to come up and talk to you. You're not this person on stage that's completely untouchable. When you do that, you get individuals on your side. They know your name. Maybe you shared a little, joke with them or something while you were at the table. It's amazing what it can do. Because I'm not Sparky B. I'm not even Chris Miller. Obviously, I'm not jumping around doing crazy stuff anymore. I'm pretty stationary. But there are still definitely ways to get people on your side. Here's another thing that I do. How many people have that big tune they save until later in the night? They save it back, they hold it back. How many people do that? I don't do that anymore. I play the big tune right away. I just throw it on. And the reason I do this is I was actually listening to a stand-up comic. Did anyone ever hear of Louis C.K.? Yeah, he's an American comic. He's really close with Ricky Gervais. They're all good friends. And he said that for like 15 years, he did like the same crappy comedy routine, and he couldn't get out of his rut. It was the same thing over and over again. And one night he decided to try something different, so he threw his best joke out first, his strongest joke, usually the joke he closed with. What this did was force him to up the rest of his routine to make it that much better and put him under pressure to do this. Now that's not the only reason I throw my best song out first. The other reason I throw my best song out first is because I get the audience on my side. If I'm working with a rough crowd, for instance, anybody work with rough crowds? Maybe the pub crowd? Drinking a lot of beer crowd? You want to get those people on your side right away. If I save my big tunes for later and try to do filler early in the night, that drunk guy is going to be on my case for hours, and I don't want that. I want that person to be my friend immediately. And then I want him to think in his mind, wow, this DJ, he's pretty cool. He plays all the songs I like. Therefore, anything he plays I'm going to like. Which is ridiculous, but you know what? It works out that way. Once you put him on your side.
You could also buy him a beer.
You do that too. Once you get them on your side, though, you can do about anything you want with them. Does anybody have any questions for me? You do. Wait, help me out, Sparky. Yes, sir.
Do you ever DJ any gigs in the UK? Because I get a sense that Americans are much more up for it. Yeah?
I understand that. Yes, I have an answer. The gentleman in the back said, have we ever DJ'd any gigs in the UK? Because he gets a sense that Americans are a lot more apt to pretty much just let loose a lot easier than the English. Do you want to take this one?
Yes. I've played bars in the UK. I've done, I believe what you call cheese nights. Is that right? Cheese? And you know what? I did it the same way. I didn't know what I was doing, so I literally went out to the tables and I talked to people at the bar. I introduced myself. I said, look, I'm new here. What would you like to hear? And I got some great requests. And I got rapport with the audience. You know, I understand that sometimes it might be hard for some of you to hear an American telling you what to do. I understand that can piss some people off. I totally get that. But it's international. It goes across the board. I mean, we proved it here today with Sparky, and you're going to have to tweak it for your own personality and your crowd, of course. But this really is an international concept, I think.
You know, and take Brian and I out of the mix. I've been coming to the BPM show for, 5 years now. I think I've been out here. And this is the first year that I haven't gone to this nightclub. But there was a club in Birmingham called Flares, I believe. Anyone ever hear of it? I think it's called Pop World now. Someone said they changed. But, I enjoy... We actually went to Gatecrasher 2 nights ago, which I really enjoyed. But as you can tell, I'm more of the YMCA type. Let me hear some AC/DC or some songs that I know type DJ. But one of the main reasons that I like going to Flares is and again, that's a UK DJ playing to the UK crowd, and the DJs that have been in there, they're using flair, they're using swag,
And me not having anything to do with it outside of just standing there with my beer enjoying the show and dancing, those guys are doing exactly what I do at my shows. They're using swag, they're using flair, they're real animated, and they get the crowd into it. And I'm talking from the beginning of the night to the end of the night. So people haven't necessarily been drinking right at the beginning of the night, and these DJs are out on the floor and they're pulling people on the dance floor personally and not just hiding behind their laptop screen. So that's a really good example to me of proof that it works worldwide and not just, you know, with American DJs coming over and such. So these guys were just fantastic DJs at that club.
Anyone else? We got a couple? Yeah, grab one.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep the energy going? You know, I let the crowd take over with the energy myself. That's my personal method. This guy's an animal. He'll go and go and go. I let the music take care of it. Once, like I said before, once I've got him won over, I just keep trying to bring it up a notch every time. I think you get to the point where everyone gets a little tired, you know, especially at a wedding. It's okay to do what I call hills and valleys in a set, where you bring it up and then you bring it down just a notch. And it could be a slow song. It could even be a change of genres. You could be going from top 40 to Northern Soul, for instance. And what often happens is, with those hills and valleys, you end up bringing out a whole new group of people onto the dance floor sometimes. At bars in the States, sometimes I'll do what I call just rotating the crowd. And it's for bar business, really. You figure you can't put everybody in the bar at the dance floor at the same time. It's not gonna fit, right? So you get as many people out there as you can, hyped up on the music, and maybe you're picking on a particular demographic. Maybe you're playing, I don't know, what? Top 40. And then all of a sudden you see a bunch of people at the bar that you think maybe they might want to hear some soul. You quit the top 40, end it as it's like they're peaking. They're up here, they're dancing. You don't let them, like, you know, you don't let it go down, you let it peak. Kill it and pull out that soul. Let them leave the dance floor and bring up those soul people and then build them up. So you can just kind of keep it going like that. It gives everyone a break, it gives everyone a chance to have a drink, and it keeps the energy up.
Let me touch on that as well. As far as what I use with the swag and such, Brian hypes the crowd more with the music. Me with the swag, to answer your question, I guess maybe I should have been a little more clear about this earlier on. I don't at any of my shows ever go 110% the entire show. As I said earlier, I'm using the swag as a tool. If your crowd's having a blast and everyone's dancing and having a great time, why are you going to give them something? So use the swag, those towels, and who was at Pizza Fest yesterday? Our second annual Pizza Fest. You notice I had to, obviously, for those of you that were there, they told me the pizza was coming a little bit earlier than it actually was, so I had to kill about 30 minutes up on stage. So luckily we had a lot of swag lined up. I didn't give it away all right in the beginning. I actually kept that around until the pizza really wasn't coming and people looked like they were getting a bit anxious. So I was using, people were just standing there in a bit of a lull, so I wanted to use the swag at that point to get people's hands back up in there and such. So again, only use it when you need to. Don't necessarily just give swag randomly out in the crowd. Use it as a tool when you need it.
And hold the really good stuff back. Right?
Did we have another question?
Yeah, and what was your question? The question is, what Sparky was doing up here was teasing you guys a little bit with the swag. You know, no, when you go louder, get your hands up. Can you go too far where you have the audience turn on you?
Absolutely. Again, you heard me earlier on say you need to ride that fine line when using swag and getting their hands up in the air. Sometimes you're just going to have a crowd that is just not into it. You'll get them into it to a certain point, but you have to, again, know when to ride that fine line and be able to read people's facial expressions and their body language. if you know they're starting to go from smiles to frowns, obviously maybe just go back into the music, and maybe they don't care about the sweat. If it's in a bar, oh, you can always go to the alcohol. Everyone enjoys a good beer in a pub, right? But as far as the school dances and such, I've really never had a problem at school dances with the kids and such, but corporate events, and especially corporate events, that's a real fine line. Weddings are a real fine line, because you don't want to overshadow the reason that that party has come together with the bride and the groom, or you don't want to overshadow the corporation that's paying you to be there. So you always want to make sure that you're, you know, if it's a corporation, you're promoting their brand the entire show and keeping the guys writing the check happy. You want to make sure that you're always promoting the bride and groom. So a lot of times I'll take my swag and I'll actually, a lot of times you either get a bride or a groom that's a little bit more on the shy side. So I try to pull that bride and groom out on the floor together. I stick a tube of glow necklaces in one hand, a tube of glow necklaces in the other, and actually let them pass them out, and they're throwing them up in the air because it's all of their friends and family. So you just do what it takes to try to make that crowd comfortable, and yeah, just comfortable and get the smiles. Yeah, just don't push them too hard.
Can I get a show of hands for anybody in here who feel like they might have learned something or taken something away from today's seminar? I want to thank you guys so much. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You guys make us feel so welcome here every year, year after year. And our sound guy, big round of applause for the sound guy. He turned it up so we can all hear what we're saying up here. Big round of applause for my friend Chris Miller, aka Sparky B. I'm Brian Red. Thank you for coming.